Good evening, you're watching SG News, I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, a new report from the Children's Commissioner warns that children in the north are falling behind, train travel chaos with strikes, and helping farmers cope with their mental health in Lincolnshire. Later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Janine Walker about Dr. Bike. Before that, Adette Rawdon tells me about her scholarship to study in America. England's Children's Commissioner has warned that children growing up in the north are facing entrenched deprivation and poor schools. Anne Longfield says children from poorer backgrounds must deal with an education gap that starts before school and develops in later life. She wants more investment to deal with the problem and boost recruitment of teachers in the north. The government says investment to achieve this is underway with a £70 million pledge. There's been widespread travel chaos today after the RMT union held a strike in a dispute over driver-only trains. The union says proposals to modernise services are unsafe. Northern rail services across Yorkshire and Lincolnshire have been affected today, with around 1,400 trains running. The dispute is a year old. Another walkout has been planned for Thursday. A farming support charity says the farming industry has one of the highest risk rates of suicide in the country. The Lincolnshire Rural Support Network says it's dealing with an unprecedented volume of calls from members of the farming community suffering bad mental health. Alison Twiddy, project manager of the charity, explains how they're dealing with the problem.
What we try to do is prevent the problems or support and walk with people through the problems that they have so that they don't get to the point of actually taking that monumental step. But we do at times when people are expressing suicidal thoughts have to get involved with talking to the police about removal of guns, which is one of the key things because they have the means to be able to take their own life. And so what we also do is make sure that we work with the other services that there are in the county so that we have a coordinated approach. Mental health, obviously, public sector services are under pressure. We all know that. So we're doing our bit really, and we can be much more flexible, I suppose, because we can go and sit round a farm kitchen table, or we can sit in the market and have a chat. We can go to the farm. We can be available. We've got helplines like a Samaritan helpline, which our volunteers manage for us, and that's open every day of the year from 8 in the morning till 6 at night, and we can be there at a weekend. We can be very responsive.
Scunthorpe United has sacked its manager. Graham Alexander left the club on Saturday following the team's 1-1 draw with Rochdale, and Jack will bring you more on that story in the Sports Roundup later in the programme. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested following an incident at a hotel in Hull this morning. Officers were called to the premises on Beverley Road shortly after 5:30. Following reports, a 17-year-old boy and a 19-year-old man were being held in a room against their will. The two boys and the man were brought safely out of the room just before 7 o'clock, and the roads were reopened. No one was injured in the incident. The MP for Cleethorpes and Immingham has been sharing his views on the future of the UK's fishing industry. Martin Vickers was speaking after the Prime Minister Theresa May insisted Brexit will provide an opportunity to rebuild the industry. She says there'll be a bright future in fishing, despite the government's decision to allow the EU to set fishing quotas for almost 2 years after Brexit.
We were a deep-sea fishing port. In fact, our fishing grounds were outside our territorial waters. And sadly, we've only got a handful of boats now locally. So I think it's bearable for our industry to have to wait another 21 months before they can look to the benefits of coming fully out of the CFP. But it is a bigger issue for the Scottish and West Country ports, and I'm not happy with it. I've indicated to the government that if they were to give any more concessions on this, I would, along with a number of my colleagues, be prepared to vote against the agreement.
And you can see that interview in full in Hot Topic tonight at 8:30 on Estuary TV. Normanby Hall in Scunthorpe is now home to the region's first Go Ape. The adventure-based attraction features zip wires, Tarzan swings and rope ladders. Our intrepid reporter, Jack Muscat, had a go on the course and brings us the story.
The 300-acre Normanby Hall estate is set to harness its land in more ways than one. The 19th century mansion, 5 miles north of Scunthorpe, is opening a new Go Ape adventure course within its grounds. Councillor Rob Waltham, leader of North Lincolnshire Council, was at the unveiling of the new site on Friday.
This is the launch of the new eagerly awaited Go Ape here at Normanby Hall, so we're quite excited. Obviously we've got people already booked on courses, and it's going to be an important part of how we continue to develop Normanby Hall going forward. There are thousands of people who visit here every day, and during the summer, you know, that rises. So obviously we want to make sure more people come, and Go Ape will be an important partner for us. I think if you look about where Go Apes, you know, actually are at the moment, they're in pretty rural locations like we are here in North Lincolnshire, but they're also in, you know, they act as a real hub to try and attract tourism first of all, but also to bring people from a whole area. So we're hoping obviously people will come in from North East Lincolnshire, we're hoping we'll get people over from the East Riding and obviously some of the West Riding as well. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for more people to come and visit.
There are 32 Go Ape treetop adventure courses across the UK, but this is the first site to be opened in Lincolnshire. Previously, the nearest Go Ape to the area was well over an hour away in Sherwood Pines, Nottinghamshire. Nick Ruffles, site manager of the new Normanby Hall course, explains exactly what's on offer for visitors.
We have a junior course and a treetop adventure course, so 2 activities for all ages. Basically, we cover all bases. The treetop adventure course is kind of target between 18 to 35-year-olds, but that doesn't mean there's an age limit to that. The lower age limit is around 10 years of age, but they have to be over 1 metre 4. Upper age limit, there's no upper age limit. We've had people as old as 92, 93 do it. It's as young as you feel sort of thing. Being on the grounds of Normanby Hall is brilliant for us, really. They offer so much for everybody around the local area as well, be it through their children's play park, their splash pad, the land train. The stuff they do here is a great setting for us because we can work with them, they work with us, really. And it's a really beautiful setting for us to be at, really.
It's a destination when you come to Normanby, which is a good thing because we want to encourage more people to come here, you know, and just generally come with families, enjoy the leisure activities we have here. But this is another extra string to our bow, which we hope, you know, obviously families will come, they'll get the benefit of it and spend the time on the course, which is an important part of building the value from what they pay. And obviously we want to make sure that as many people come to the area as we can get.
For those who give a monkeys, the site is based within the Hall grounds near the village of Burton upon Stather. Featuring zip wires and rope ladders, the new course is now open to wannabe adventurers who want to swing by and take to the ropes. Jack Muscat, Estuary News.
A Lincolnshire mental health nurse who works with children and young people is to study in America with a national travel scholarship from the Florence Nightingale Foundation. And I'm joined by her now, Odette Rawdon, nurse at the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service CAMS in North East Lincolnshire, to tell me a bit more. Odette, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
What will you be looking to learn in the United States that we don't already know here? Surely they can't do it better than we do.
Well, I think there's maybe not much to learn, but it's about kind of getting out there and finding out, really. So I'm travelling to America to look at DBT, dialectical behavioural therapy, which is a specific type of talking therapy. It's used to help young people that maybe self-harm or experience suicidal thinking. And in America, you know, they've got lots of areas that are doing it quite robustly, and they are investing quite a lot of money, and they're doing a lot of research into kind of the long-term outcomes for young people with those type of difficulties. So yeah, it's just about kind of getting out there, really, and just seeing, you know, how are they doing it differently, and, you know, what is there to learn.
Are they doing with any more success?
So they do things, the main reason I'm going is because they do things slightly differently. They deliver it in a kind of a more robust way. It's whether or not, kind of my job really is to go and see whether that added investment is worth it. They argue it is. So it's kind of about going out there and kind of meeting with clinicians that are delivering it and kind of saying, okay, so what you know, why is it worth investing more into it?
Dialectical behavioural therapy sounds very Hegelian and very. Is that quite a modern idea? Is that quite a new development?
No, it's based on CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, which might be a little bit more well known.
Yeah.
It's a talking therapy, looking at kind of thoughts and feelings and how your thoughts and feelings affect your behaviour. DBT is slightly different. DBT looks at. It's about getting the balance between acceptance and change, so kind of accepting this is who I am, this is the situation I'm in right now, with change. Okay, so what can I change? What could I do differently? And with regards to self-harm, that change is often to look at changing those unhelpful behaviours. So self-harm for a lot of young people is a coping mechanism. It's a way in which they manage quite difficult thoughts and feelings. So it's about kind of, okay, are there alternatives to that? Can we kind of change those behaviours for more positive ones?
So what did you do to earn the Florence Nightingale Scholarship?
So I applied for the scholarship, and within that I had to write a proposal. So the scholarship and the fact that I'm travelling to America is completely unique to me. So it's something that I'm kind of passionate about and wanting to know a little bit more about. So I proposed, it's a good idea, invest in me and my project, send me to America. So I had to write this proposal, and then I was shortlisted for an interview, and I went to London for the interview, which was gruelling.
I'm sure it was, yeah.
Where they kind of basically picked my proposal apart and wanted to know a little bit more. And
America's a big place. Where precisely will you be going?
I'm going to Seattle, LA, and then across to New York, and I plan to spend a bit of time in each area. Again, each state do things differently, so it's getting quite a broad look at. And
you'll be away for a couple of weeks?
Yes.
Odette, thanks so much for coming in. Have a wonderful travels.
Thank you.
Join me after the break. Jack brings us more on the sacking of Scunthorpe manager Graham Alexander in the sports, and I'll be talking to Janine Walker about Dr. Bike. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us more on the sacking of Scunthorpe manager Graham Alexander in the sports, and I'll be talking to Janine Walker about Dr. Bike. There are calls to reinstate fire at sea operations. Training for fire crews boarding vessels by helicopter was abolished by the Maritime Coast Guard Agency in 2015. That led to Humberside Fire and Rescue withdrawing its service last year. The Fire Brigade wants the training reinstated, and Chief Officer Chris Blaxall is meeting with Fire and Policing Minister Nick Hurd to review the decision made to withdraw the training. Mr. Blaxall said the withdrawal of winch training meant certificates lapsed and firefighters were unable to attend refresher courses. Lincoln Business Improvement Group held its first farmers' market at the weekend on the renovated section of the High Street. The area has had new paving and seating as part of an £800,000 investment from Lincolnshire County Council. It now links up with the uphill area near the cathedral and castle. Street food from around the world was on offer, including Jamaican, Thai and Mexican cuisine. The market returns in July. People with a disability or mobility issue are invited to an open day to find specially adapted bicycles in Bridlington. All Ride is an adapted bike scheme for people over the age of 5, which offers people with disabilities the chance to enjoy cycling. The scheme was launched in June 2014 and is the only one of its kind in the East Riding. The open day is tomorrow at Victoria Terrace along the North Promenade. A second event takes place next Tuesday. A mother and son from Scunthorpe have raised over £1,000 for their local hospice. Karen Wright and her son Ben took part in a sponsored skydive by parachuting from a plane at 15,000 feet in aid of Lindsay Lodge Hospice. The money will be donated to the charity, which provides specialist care to people in North Lincolnshire who have progressive life-limiting illnesses. Karen said the dive was an unforgettable experience. Cyclists in North East Lincolnshire can get their bike fixed for free over the next few months by the Cycle Hub. Janine Walker from the Hub joins me now. Janine, welcome. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
How did you get here this afternoon?
I actually had to come by car.
Right, OK, that's a pity. So what's Dr. Bike? It's happened before, hasn't it?
It has.
What will be going on?
Our experienced mechanics will be popping up in various locations all over North East Lincolnshire, and literally anybody can come along and get their bikes fixed for free. And
this is just this week, in the next few days, or does it go on longer?
No, this particular round will be going on from the end of March. It actually starts tomorrow, and it will finish at the beginning of July.
Oh, forgive me, sorry. And where should people bring their bikes if they want to get them fixed up?
Well, we have 5 locations, and we're going to be regularly popping up in those 5 locations over the months. So, for instance, we start off tomorrow at the Westmarsh Community Centre in Beeson Street, and we will do that on the last Tuesday of each month from tomorrow to June. Then Cottingham Pharmacy on Wellington Street, we will be there on the last Wednesday of each month, March to June. Then we will go to Grimsby Leisure Centre. We will be there on the first Tuesday of each month, so that will be from April to July. So that will be 3rd of April, the first one.
Okay.
Then we go to Immingham, Burt Boyden Centre there, and that's the first Wednesday of each month, April to July. And then lastly, we have the Grange Community Centre on the first Thursday of each month. And they're all from 4:15 till 5:45.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that's got the housework out of the way, as it were. What sort of injuries can you fix? I mean, if bicycles have been under a bus, then that's probably not really salvageable.
No, not at all. And it has to be repairs that can be done outside of a workshop. So come up with your punctures and your sticky brakes and your gears that aren't working properly, and we can fix all of those. If your chain is in particularly bad condition, we can replace a chain as well. But for more trickier things, if you need a new cassette, for instance, or your wheel is badly buckled.
A new cassette?
Yes, the big cogs on the back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting very technical with me here. How's the hub doing? Because we're all anyone living in Grimsby is very familiar with the hub. It's right by the railway station there.
It is.
Very conveniently. Yeah. Brisk business? Yeah,
indeed, and it's really picking up at this time of year now that the weather has hopefully improved. The nicer weather always brings people out. The bikes start coming out of the garage and they bring them in for a bit of TLC, and it's just lovely. I love the spring, you know. All the flowers are coming up and all the cyclists are coming out, so it's great.
Any news on the Cleethorpes hub?
Yes, I've just received news today that there's been a little bit of a setback on the Cleethorpes hub. We were hoping to open by the end of May, but I've just been told that works won't be completed on the building until at least middle of September. So it's a case of watch this space for that one.
This is the traditional British builder, I suppose, isn't it? So, but why cycling? What's the benefit of cycling?
Oh, all sorts of benefits. I mean, first and foremost, it's fun. I think a lot of people, once you've got a driving licence, that's it, you drive everywhere. But get back on a bike and you actually remember, oh yes, this is actually good fun. I'm going to choose to do this in my free time. Mentally, it keeps you alert. Doctors will tell you it's great for your mental health. Environment-wise.
Good for your environment and good for your physical health as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Janine, we're going to have to stop there, but good luck with the Dr. Bike.
Thank you very much.
Here's Jack with all the sports.
We'll start with the big news coming out of Scunthorpe United. The Iron have sacked manager Graham Alexander following their 1-1 draw with Rochdale on Saturday. The club announced the decision several hours after the game, with his assistant Neil MacDonald also being relieved of his duties. Alexander's dismissal comes after an 8-match winless run in League One. It brings an end to the 46-year-old's 2-year spell in charge of the club. And as I just mentioned, Scunthorpe drew 1-1 with Rochdale at Glanford Park in what was a precursor to events after the game. The Iron fell behind on 20 minutes when Callum Camps gave the visitors a deserved half-time lead. United responded just 6 minutes into the second half, Ivan Toney heading in Tom Hopper's flick on. And that's how it finished, as Scunthorpe stay fifth, but with teams below them having games in hand, their playoff position is under threat. In what turned out to be Graham Alexander's last post-match press conference, I asked him for his assessment of the game.
We started brightly in the first half, had a good couple of opportunities but didn't take advantage of them. They score. 5 minutes after that we go a bit flat for probably the last 15-20 minutes of the first half, and but the second half we were all better, started much more positively aggressive and got the goal and had other opportunities, but so did Rochdale. So it wasn't a game high on quality. I thought probably the need for points and the pitch, all adds into the mix that it wasn't a game for playing flowing champagne football from either team, and it was about getting the goals, but we had to share them today.
Meanwhile, in League Two, just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for Grimsby Town, they did. The Mariners were thrashed 4-0 at Coventry City on Saturday, before the side below them, Chesterfield, won against Notts County the day after. That result, combined with Grimsby's defeat, leaves them just 3 points above Chesterfield in the relegation zone. More worryingly, that is the fact that the Spireites have 2 games in hand over Grimsby, and relegation for the Mariners now looks a very real possibility. Onto Rugby League, and Hull FC got back to winning ways in style as they powered past Catalan Dragons on Friday night. The Black and Whites thrashed the Super League's bottom side 42-16 at the KCOM Stadium. 2 tries from Josh Griffin and Fatuli Talanoa were added to by efforts from Jamie Shull, Scott Taylor and Jake Connor. Mark Sneed kicked 6 goals for Hull, who move up to 7th in the table thanks to that resounding victory. However, it was contrasting emotions for their cross-city rivals Hull Kingston Rovers. A tryless Robins lost 30 points to 6 to table-toppers St Helens at KCOM Craven Park. It had been 14-6 at the break, but the Saints were simply too strong for Rovers in the second half. Fullback Ben Barber was the star man, running in 2 excellently worked tries for the visitors. After the game, I spoke to head coach Tim Sheens.
I think they put up a fight. Unfortunately, when we had 12 men there, we were in all sorts. Slipping over twice for tries, those sort of things. Penalties on late tackle count. There's still a few things we need to fix, which would have helped us. Our completion was at the other end from last week, under 70%, about 63%, which doesn't sound much, but it is. It's a lot more tackling, a lot more. You give a side like that amount of ball, then they're going to come back at you. But I thought we competed well, but just not good enough with the ball in hand.
That result leaves KR in 9th in the table with just 2 wins from their opening 7 Super League games. And that's all for today's sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
Thanks, Jack. For details of times and places for Dr. Bike, go to grimsbycyclehub.org.uk. Thank you, Janine. If you want to contact us, then details below. Facebook or Twitter pages, email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472315553 or write to us at Estuary TV, Laceby Road, Lincolnshire, DN30, North East Lincolnshire, DN345BQ. From us, good evening.